Ravens fans, NFL fans, football fans everywhere. It is the most wonderful time of the year. I woke up on Tuesday morning, and I follow Ron Jaworski out on Twitter, and he's got this beautiful picture of the sun kissing the wall at Lambeau Field in Green Bay. The NFL season is underway. No one happier about it than one of our partners in crime here, one of our great sponsors, and he does host the SSV on WNST on Thursdays from 3 until 5 here, driving you home. He is Dennis Kolatzis from Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. They also sponsor our incredible WNST tech service. Many of you on it, many of you getting the breaking news. And Dennis, I can only hope for our sake. My most famous WNST text came when I came home from training camp a couple years ago after the Super Bowl win, and I landed. And you know when you land from another country, you don't have your phone on for a couple days. You turn your phone on, and it's just like text 1, text 2, text 3, text 4, and they were WNST texts, and there wasn't any of them good. It started with like Dennis Pitta getting hurt and went south from there. So, as much as I love our text service, Dennis, not too many texts out of Ravens camp this week, okay?
Yeah, no news has been good news. Quiet offseason for the Ravens, unlike some of the other teams around the league. Been very, very fortunate. So, with a team with so many questions heading into training camp, it's been a pretty solid offseason. They got Tucker under contract. I thought that was a really good thing. No distractions heading into camp because John Harbaugh and his staff, they certainly will have their hands full. Vegas predicts us 8-8, and I guess the optimistic fan base 12-4, and the pessimist is 4-12. So anything can happen this season.
Is the number 8? The over/under's 8 in Vegas. So if I
8.
You know, I don't know whether I'd take 9 or 7, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I that is a perfect number for them. It's probably where they should be. You know, I don't know how they get to 12 or 13, but I think they can get to 10. Part of that would be the schedule being a lot different than last year. But really, everything we're going to talk about is really going to begin and end with Joe Flacco for me. All the other parts, they might be good, they might be okay. Some parts might be better than you thought. But if Joe Flacco struggles in the way that Tom Brady struggled when he first came back from the injury, Lord knows Carson Palmer struggled when he came back from the injury. But he's so mentally tough in that way that I don't know that he's going to be going out there thinking about it. But this week he probably will be thinking about it a little bit. He's sat with us and talked about the rehab part of it and all that. But he's not a guy who's going to bitch about it. But look, man, you've been injured. I've been injured. It's never easy when you're coming back from an injury.
No, it's not. It's never easy, Nestor, as you mentioned. But my biggest concern about Joe Flacco was last season prior to his injury, he was only completing 48% of his passes. Now, again, he didn't have Steve Smith Sr. His receiving core was depleted, but still, you like to think that your franchise quarterback can carry your team. He cannot have the same kind of a start. Hopefully, the team will help him out by running the ball, but that starts with the offensive line. Can the offensive line solidify before the regular season starts? You have a rookie left tackle, you have a brand new left guard, Jeremy Zuder coming back from injury, Mark Sianda, the overall right guard, and Rick Wagner just had a bad year last year. He was the best right tackle the year before, but last year he had a terrible year. So that's where it starts with the Ravens in the trenches offensively. Anyway, can they run the ball? And if they can't run the ball, that's going to be trouble because Joe Flacco, you know, he's no good throwing up his back foot like most quarterbacks in the NFL.
Well, you say run the ball. Can they run the ball? Who's going to run the ball? That's the next question. I mean, this is a fascinating camp. We've had a lot of camps here through the Billick era and certainly through the Harbaugh era. It's really a tribute to Ozzie and the kind of players that they've brought in where there weren't a lot of jobs up for grabs. And Lord knows, I don't like these preseason games. I know you like looking at them, and I'm not big on the tackling dummies out in Owings Mills. I know Luke will be out there. I've been pretty unabashed about that. I don't know that I learn a whole lot during training camp. I think the coaches learn a lot about study habits, about installing things, and whether a kid can take what's installed in a classroom on a Tuesday night and make it work on a Wednesday and a Thursday out on the practice field. That's what this time of the year is for. But staying healthy is paramount. But having some sense of who's going to catch the ball, who's going to run the ball, I guess right now you'd have to say catching the ball would be primarily Aiken and primarily Wallace because they're amongst the healthier guys. We've talked about Steve Smith. He's not going to play in any of these preseason games. I don't know that we're really going to get a read on him until the second week of September, truly. Same might be said for Suggs running around out there and getting sweaty, but we won't really know what his burst is until he's got to chase Tyrod Taylor out of the pocket on opening day, right?
Exactly. With Suggs, I like to see what kind of shape he's in. I'm sure we get reports from you and Luke from training camp to see does he come in at 293 or 263. That'll be a telltale sign if Suggs is really lean and mean and motivated.
Well, he can't come in at 2-9. I mean, I know you're being semi-facetious, but he's done it before, and he's a knucklehead. I mean, I'm never going to sit here. He's my least favorite Raven of all time. Quite frankly, there are days I can't wait for him to be gone. But all that being said, the minute he's not effective anymore, he will be gone. And I don't know at what point that is, and I don't know weight bearing. I mean, I was shocked he came back from the first injury the way he did. I mean, it was an incredibly heroic thing he did during the course of the Super Bowl season to come back from that. But Father Time has never lost a battle, right?
Absolutely not. He's a big question mark. But no question about it, Nestor. They're a better team with a healthy Suggs. Now, he was probably the biggest loss besides Joe Flacco last year, because not only can he set the edge, he can get after the passer. He's very smart as well. Football smart, anyways. High football IQ, film study, helped set the defense, particularly on his side. So he was sorely missed, and big drop off after him for sure.
Dennis Colotz is joining us here from Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Of course, Dennis will be here on Thursday driving you home from 3 until 5. It is the SSV on WNST. You can follow along on Twitter or at WNST.net as well. From your perspective defensively, the middle of the back of this secondary has been such an issue with Ed Reed. And, it certainly weakens the cornerbacks when the safeties can't cover, putting extra guys in the box, trying to stop the run, which is gotten a little bit better, but I still miss Haloti Ngata to some degree. I think Brandon Williams has been wonderful, but we miss that middle Sam Adams, Saragusa from the legendary days that if you can't stop the run, you're going to have trouble. Eric Weddle's a huge piece to this to me. I think he's still healthy. I think he's still relatively in the prime of his career. I think you will notice Eric Weddle in the first 4 weeks and say, this is a better back end, this is a better secondary because of Eric Weddle.
Weddle will certainly solidify the back end, to your point. The biggest question mark is our Lardarius Webb. We've seen him break down on tackle, but can he hold up in the 16-game season at the safety position? He had a hard enough time at cornerback. And, of course, who starts opposite of Jimmy Smith this year? Is it Sharice Wright, Gerard Powers? And Jimmy Smith, are we going to get the Jimmy Smith of 2 years ago where he can cover people, or are we going to get the Jimmy Smith of last season where he struggled? He was not a shutdown corner. The back end was rated, I think, 24th in the NFL by Pro Football Focus, Nestor. And that's really a big concern of my defensively. The defensive line, Carl Davis, Timmy Jernigan, Brandon Williams, they'll have to step it up this year, as you mentioned, to make up for the loss of Haloti Ngata. And if the Ravens are going to be hard to run against, that's always been their telltale sign of that defense. The hallmark sign of that defense has been able to stop the run, force the offense in second and third and long. They have to do it. It's a must. And the other big question mark is who starts next to C.J. Mosley. That's a big spot. They had Will Hill slated for that spot, of course. He's gone for the NFL for a long time, and from the Ravens as well. But it's going to be real interesting this offseason.
Dennis Colotz can be reached out on Facebook, Twitter, anywhere the internet is served, including Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. What's going on out there, man? My dashboard on my Ford said 106 degrees on Monday. I'm sure you had a lot of triple-digit readings out there, but all that being said, you're still out there selling cars.
All of our vehicles, Nestor, come with air conditioning. It's free, it's standard, no extra charge for it. Some of our vehicles, as you know, have heated and cooled seats. And
that's your answer to global warming, right? Air conditioning.
It is unbelievable, man. And Saturday we were very busy. Last Saturday, and it was still like 51 vehicles. One of my customers said, how come you guys are so busy? And I started saying, well, you're here. We're busy all the time. I mean, Ford right now is hot, and the only thing hotter than the weather is our deals that we have. 60 months for 0%, 1.9 for 72. The F-150 Nestor is redesigned, best-selling vehicle of all time. Just a joy to drive. And Mustangs, we have people flying in from all over the country to take advantage of the savings that we're offering on Mustangs. I mean, we're getting people from Jersey, from Ohio, from California, from Florida. They're saving $2,000, $3,000, $4,000, $5,000 and driving these vehicles back. That's how much money people save when they do business with Coons Ford of Baltimore.
The good news about the hot weather is it makes the new car smell even more like a new car, right?
It does, and it also it wreaks havoc on older vehicles. It really messes them up. They overheat. It really strains their air conditioning system. So we do get a lot of trade-ins this time of the year. Very, very busy in our service department. Also, my body shop, Nestor, we just added a third paint booth. So we're the biggest body shop now in the state of Maryland. We process more vehicles to our body shop than any other place in Maryland. We're certified with Mercedes, Lexus, we make banged up cars look brand new again.
Now you're not going to be all distracted this week by the Ravens camp, right? I mean, this is a big deal, I think, for everybody, right? It really kind of signals back to school and kind of getting toward the end of summer and football season and all that stuff. It's been such a quiet couple of weeks. It feels like I haven't heard anything from the NFL. The longest stretch I can remember where I'm on the radio every day talking about it, and there really wasn't much to talk about. Like, just kind of the way Goodell and the NFL gods drew it up, it was quiet here for a little period of time.
Yeah, I mean, when Josh Gordon's return is grabbing headlines, it's been not a very brisk offseason. I think the biggest news locally is, has Nestor Aparicio received the season tickets yet? That's what I want to know.
You know what? I haven't been to my mailbox in a couple of days, which, causes you trouble when you get grand jury duty, as I found out. So, I don't go to my, I'm not a mail guy, right? So, I think they're there. I just haven't go. Everybody else has theirs. I better have mine at some point. I mean, they're showing them to me out on my Facebook page. So, good-looking tickets this year, nice and shiny and purple, and I hope to get to use all of them except the preseason tickets, which always stinks,
Yeah, you're right about that. Nice to be able to use them. Last year was an aberration, but still, it really stunk as a fan. Never mind the high draft pick. 5-11 seasons are tough to bear, and we haven't had too many of those under as long as the Ravens have been in town, thank goodness. And this year is a good year for the Ravens to get back in the playoffs. Never mind whether they win a game or not in the playoffs, but I think if they can win 10 games, as you said, get back in the playoffs, get back on track, that's what this team needs to do. I like the schedule, too. It's a lot better than last year. Last year's schedule, probably the first 7 games on the road, that was pretty brutal, Esther.
Yeah, well, and I also think for this year, expectations are not too high amongst the fan base, right? It's not win the Super Bowl or bust. It's, hey, man, let's be, 4-3 and 6-4 and 7-3. Let's be relevant. Let's not have the season end before my birthday, which is the middle of October. So that's all we can hope for is a nice competitive year. Hey, the Orioles have done that for us. The Terps have done that for us. It's been pretty good since the Ravens season ended. They have to pick up their part on Thursday. You can reach Dennis at SSV on WNST, on Twitter, as well as on Facebook, and always at Coons Florida Security Boulevard. What's that number? Rings on your hip, right?
Yep, 410-218-0337, 410-218-0337. You can bet the lead I'll answer it.
There you go. If your car's overheating, give Dennis a call and get on out there. It's nice and cool in the shop out at Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Of course, our WNST Tech Service, also sponsored by Coons Ford of Security Boulevard. Any breaking news, Orioles, Ravens, Terps. We hope there's not a lot of Ravens breaking news. It comes to you first from there. Luke and I will be on the backfields in Owings Mills all week long. You can always reach me, nasty at WNST.net. Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter, Snapchat, Instagram, anywhere you are. We are WNST.net, AM 1570, and WNST Towson, Baltimore. And we never stop talking Baltimore sports.